Hello, gorgeous. Here are a bunch of things I've learned in my 20s. Now that I'm 30, I didn't learn anything. Video over. Just kidding. I could write a book about the small percentage of things that I absorbed. As you get older, the problems start getting worse because they're not cute anymore. It's not cute to have problems. You gotta start mastering yourself and getting good at things. To not make mistakes, heed these words because these are things I never listened to adults, meaning my parents, people who are a couple decades older than me, 3 decades older than me, and I should have listened to them. I feel they worded it differently in a way that I didn't understand. I can help if I'm close enough in age to let you see here are the things that might steer you in the right direction. Whatever you want to do in life, these are some good things to keep in mind because I had to figure out things the hard way. Now we have YouTube. I had to do ugly blue eyeshadow my entire growing up, and now we have teenagers who are better than me at doing makeup. That skipped my generation. I'm going to break this up into 3 parts. Fortify yourself, relationships, and then work and finance. It's going to be much more fun than you think. It's not going to be super serious. If anything, this is for pure entertainment. One of my favorite quotes is, "Care first about the greatest perfection of the soul." It's by Socrates. I learned this recently, and he's the one who said, "Know thyself." And this is an aphorism also attributed to, I believe it was Socrates, Heraclitus, Pythagoras, or in Drake 0 to 100, know yourself. When I say fortify yourself, in this whole section, we're going to talk about finding yourself, knowing yourself, and then fortifying or mastering yourself, self-mastery. When you know yourself, that's when you can draw the boundaries and create an outline, create a strong walls where you need to, and create openings where you want to. Say, for example, you want to learn more about cooking a certain dish or a certain cuisine, you're going to open walls to that. If you know that you have friends who want you to go out late, you don't want to go out late anymore, you have a boundary for that. Mastering yourself is maintaining that. Sometimes things will change where your boundaries change and you want to learn new things. But the first thing is, time is your friend. I was always in a rush to be the youngest to do something. I always was really good for a young person. I was fast to catch on. I'm looking at notes here, by the way, so I don't miss anything. My dad told me, don't be the youngest, be the highest paid. We'll get into that some more. Get good at what you do. But first, how do you know what it is what you do? Time is your friend because I was always in a rush to find a boyfriend, to be the first in school to do this, to want to have a family, to want to buy a house by a certain age. There are some things that you should do by a certain age, like have a bar mitzvah, have your confirmation. Those are things meant to, you should do it by a certain age. It's good that you are itching to do certain things and make big moves, accomplish a lot of things. But the thing is, you want to be so good at all the things that you touch to the point that you look back and realize, I have put in hours and hours today to this one thing. In order to do that, you need time. In order to be good at talking with people and being sociable, you need to practice with time. You need to see things out with time. In relationships, I learned this the hard way. When you want to love someone, you have to figure out who they are first. That takes time. Growing up takes time. Time will tell you if you need something in your life. Time will tell you if you don't need something in your life. Say, for example, I want to get this dress because it's the right one just in time for this party, but then all of the circumstances are against you. It's not going on sale, or it's not available in all the stores around you, or something that's telling you it's not the time. Sometimes it's disappointing, but the right thing will come at the right time. Next is, the way to find yourself is to do things alone. There are a lot of things we should definitely try. Have the courage to do it. Definitely try it alone. You should try out things just for you. Try out things to see if you like them alone, not because of the influence of your friend that got you into something. Sometimes there are things that your friend will introduce you to, and then now you do that for the rest of your life, but your friend doesn't even do it anymore. So there are things like that. But in order to see if you really like something or you enjoy something, do I actually like this or not? Some people will go through all of law school, pass the bar exam, do law for 2 years, and then do something completely different after that. They'll start a business, do things alone, and that's how you figure out who you are, by actually trying things. And then also try things multiple times, and then make friends along the way. Because when you make friends, sometimes you don't do that thing, you don't stick to it forever, but then what you gain from the experience is a lifetime friend. Trying new things, especially doing them alone, because you're more likely to talk to people around you. There was a study done that when people travel with a partner, they do less things because they're compromising. For example, if I want to go to a certain museum, my boyfriend is not into museums, then we'll end up doing something else. We're not as happy, or only one person is happy and they're not as happy because the other person's being a drag. When you travel by yourself, you do all the things and you see things on foot, you go on the train and you fly by yourself, you're more likely to do more and to be daring. Next is finding a balance between having fun and being responsible is hard. I learned this recently. I used to be very, very rigid in my schedule. There's not one way to do things. Finding a balance between having fun and being responsible is definitely learned practice. Someone else will tell you you can do both, but it's not easy from my experience anyway. I just recently learned how to have fun, because when I would have fun, I would go in 110% having fun. I've never coasted. And I've seen so many quotes about people on their deathbed talking about they wish they didn't work as hard, or they wish they spent more time with their loved ones. Finding a balance of being really good at work and then being really good with my loved ones, making effort to prioritize them, that's been very dear to me. Be easygoing and being flexible is really hard. Being responsible is good. It keeps you healthy, it keeps you sane, it keeps your schedules on point, it keeps your routine going. But having fun keeps you wanting to come back for more and actually enjoying life. So be easygoing. Next is learn the rules, but know when to break them. I feel like we should have fun breaking the rules. When you see that one friend who's super serious make a joke, you laugh even harder because you never see them make jokes. If you have a friend who gives you a compliment, who's always very honest, saying the brutal truth about things, when they compliment someone, you believe them 1,000 times more. When you are honest with yourself, with your capabilities and how dangerous you can be, Jordan Peterson's Be a Dangerous Man, then learn to control it. You're a person, you're not a machine that's supposed to function a certain way all the time. Enjoy yourself better. They say be a warrior in a garden rather than a gardener in a war. You have the capability to comprehend social norms, but you also have a personality. You're a human being who is dynamic. There is a time and place to be appropriate, but then there's also a time and place to have a little bit of fun. Knowing when to apply the guidelines, the protocols. It's good to know the basic etiquette of things, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Next is to take care of your health, meaning your body. So your mind is part of your body, but also referring to your cognition, your thinking, and your habits. This also means curtailing the thoughts of people around you. The people you surround yourself with eventually presents itself in you. I used to know someone growing up. I feel like a clinical psychologist should say this, not a regular day-to-day person. I never throw this word around ever because I feel like it's overused, so it's kind of watered down in its meaning. I used to grow up with this really toxic person who always had the worst case scenario thought as their first thing to come up in their head. That did not even cross my mind, and I erase that person from my life. I can relax more. I can just be myself and not stress out. There's definitely a lot of good in the world, but when the bad presents itself, it's usually really bad and it makes everyone uncomfortable. So take care of your mind with your own thoughts. When you take care of your body, your mind functions properly. Exercising, getting enough sleep, eating properly. It needs to be said. People need to be reminded because sometimes it's easy for them to veer off course. I lived in a state where nobody took care of their body. They had good minds, but I feel like if they took care of their body, their mind would be even better. That's just one small piece of a very large puzzle of taking care of yourself. What you think creates your words, creates your actions, creates your habits, creates your whole lifestyle. Stop eating garbage, consistently work out, sleep well, do not poison yourself with vices. Next, looks aren't everything, but they make a heck of a first impression. Be well groomed and sharply dressed. Think your senses. Smell, sight, touch, taste. There's that quote by Oscar Wilde, you're never too overeducated or overdressed. Yes, you can be overdressed, technically speaking, but a lot of people don't put a lot of effort. And when they do put effort, it's in the wrong place, but their heart's there. So I appreciate that. When you do dress well, when you do groom well, when you present yourself visibly well, that's the first sense you're communicating with, because 80% of what you say is not spoken. It can be that you stink, and then you realize that communicates, I did not shower, or I just worked out, or I was just cooking because I smell like food. What you present yourself is a split-second first impression of what you're communicating. So present yourself well. Next is to be a small fish in a big room. There is always someone smarter than you, someone who makes way more money than you. There is always someone blah, 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 X more than you. It's good to listen. It's good to learn. You can always learn someone from something. You're a human being and you have completely different experiences. I have a brother who we had the exact same experiences, but he lives a completely different life. Just treat everyone with utmost respect. The world is a mirror. Smile and the world will smile back at you. Next is to master your skills and talents. Work on your weaknesses. First off, I'm going to get into the talents. Growing up, my dad would make me perform whatever latest song I knew on the guitar, or sing in front of someone, or breakdance in front of someone, and I thought it was really funny and weird. I asked my dad, why are we supposed to share our talents? Like, what good does that do? I would play the piano in front of someone, play the drums in front of someone. My dad said, it's because a lot of people go their entire life not ever experiencing music lessons or having seen someone play something or hearing this type of music, and you're the one to show them. That's the gift that you have to offer. So don't hide that. Don't dull your talents. You need to share it with people because not everyone is as lucky as you. I knew so many people who didn't have music lessons and they didn't know basic things about music, basic things about art. I'm really lucky to have grown up with such an artistic father. I didn't know that I was actually privileged growing up in this sense, where everyone got the latest video game that was like a $500 console, which is crazy, or the latest shoes that were on trend, sneakers. I was the one, my parents spent money on me for music lessons or tennis lessons. They were paying a lot every single week for me to go to these lessons. I realized over time, it actually costs way more to have these lessons than it does to buy the latest console, where these kids get it once a year for their birthday or for a holiday. Master your skills and work on your weaknesses. When it comes to your skills, work on the parts that you need to work on. I'm going to use a little bit of a musical analogy. I know someone, when they practice a new piece, there's this one bit where it's really difficult for them to play. They will struggle through that measure and then they'll play the rest beautifully. So every time they play it, they'll play from the very beginning and struggle through that little bit, then play the rest. It's not the way that the piece is supposed to be played. You should master the part that you don't know, make it sound good, play it well, and then put the whole thing together. That's really hard. That's not easy to do. Who cares about the things that you're good at? Everybody already knows you're good at putting on makeup. Everybody already knows that you're a fashionista, but you're not so good at cooking and taking care of yourself. You're not so good at taking care of your skin. These are just random things. They're not personal attacks. Master where you're weak. Everything that we touch, it should turn to gold. If you start something and you know, wow, I think I really want to master this skill. I really want to continue doing this for a good amount of decades. Get really good at it. Understand it. Do it well. Don't just understand it well, do it well. The actioning part of the knowledge is the most important part. But if you try something and you don't like it, it's not for you, you don't have to master that skill. You don't have to master every single little thing, but all the things that you do want to master them. You don't necessarily have to be a jack of all trades. For example, something I'm not good at is speaking Arabic. I'm going to focus on speaking Arabic for a good few years. I am very, very weak in speaking Arabic. So I'm going to keep on working on that. I'm not going to fumble through it, and I'm going to do 110%. Everything I put my mind to has to come out right because I want to do right by me. I want to learn properly. I want to do things the right way. I might not be good at cooking, but I practice cooking every day and I try to practice well. I try to do different recipes, different cuisine. I go to different markets to experiment, taste different things, basic culinary science by the least to whatever my capabilities that I want it to be. Usually that's a pretty high standard. Next is to specialize in something. Find things that you would love to master. Having something just for you that you can say, oh, I do this. Say, for example, for me, it's fencing. I know some people distantly in my family who are competing in fencing in EMA tournaments. They're amazing, but I don't know anybody remotely in my circle of friends who do or ice skating. That's just a me thing. That's purely my own volition. Chess, I'm at home learning the Nachmanson's Gambit, things that are just for me. Every now and again, I find random people that are interested in it, but it's really just for me because when I go back home, I have nobody to talk about this with. It's literally just my thing, and you should have your thing. You should have something that you love to master, even if it's building Legos. I know people who collect hats. It's not they're doing it for a purpose to impress. They just do it because it's their thing. Have something just for you that nobody else can take away because only you do that thing. Collect art, not because the value of it eventually when you can invest, but because you like the color blue, like what you like. Next is relationships. This is a recent thing I've learned and very valuable. Do things from your heart. Not because you're doing a favor for someone, you can throw it back at them later. You never do this. I always do this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this for you. And you only do this. Don't count. If you do something, if you want to do something, do it because it's from your heart and you never bring it up. You never say it. It just happens. And sometimes they'll say thank you if they notice. Sometimes they don't. If you really want to do something, if you really love someone, or if you're that kind of person who does those things, do it from your heart. Never hold it against someone. Do it because you want to. If you spend a lot of money on something and you feel like you gave them a lot, but they don't appreciate it, never bring it up. Just do it from your heart because you love to do it. That's just who you are. You're a giving person. And if they don't appreciate it, obviously, and they keep not appreciating it, they don't see it, they don't recognize it, leave the person or stop spending time with the person. If you're romantically involved, if it's a family member, whatever it is, just do it from your heart. And if you really love the person, you won't say anything because that's love. You just do things sometimes. You just give. You don't ask, what am I getting? You ask, how can I give? What can I give? Next, how to truly keep relationships. There are a few things here. Make people feel understood, make them feel comfortable and accepted. and also relate to people. Making people feel comfortable is essentially reading the room, not saying things to compete with people or not say things to make people feel small or like they're not good enough. I see people condescending all the time, making themselves feel bigger. Sometimes they'll indirectly talk down to people and they don't realize they're doing it. A lot of grown adults do this. A lot of 60-year-olds do this. It's just a human thing. They want to stand out a certain way because they want the validation. How you relate to people is simply by showing that you understand them, that you accept them. Pure love truly is acceptance, in other words. When you accept someone wholly and you don't necessarily fully understand them and you just accept them, like, I appreciate that, I support that, that's love. This can be shown in many ways with your girlfriends, with your partner. Also, in order to keep relationships, relate to everyone. If there's someone you want to keep in your life, understand them by relating to them. It might not be a perfect relation if you guys are different. When you relate to people, they feel closer to you. You find common grounds. We're completely different classes, we're different ethnicities, we're different jobs, we're different lifestyles. But they say, oh, I'm from Orange County. I say, what part of Orange County? Are you North or South Orange County? I'm from Orange County. We're both, or like you find something that you have common grounds with someone, and that makes you so much more relatable. You want to feel close to people. You want to feel like there's a connection with you guys, like you understand each other better. And relatability makes people feel comfortable. It makes people feel at ease and more able to open up to you or just want to be around you more because they feel understood and accepted, even though you guys are completely different. Next is to date for marriage. I used to date and not know what I want, and that's okay. Because when you're in your early stages of dating, especially in your 20s, whatever you're going through, if you don't believe in marriage, date someone for long-term, for the long-term vision. I know a lot of girlfriends growing up who would date a guy simply because he had good taste in music. And I thought, that's not the way you vet a guy, because one, my taste in music changes all the time. We'll have the marshmallow experiment linked below. What happened was little kids were given a marshmallow by a scientist in a room. I believe it was a psychologist in Stanford. There were different versions of this study. Little kids would be given this marshmallow and they had to hold it for 10 minutes. If they ate it, they didn't get another marshmallow. If they waited, they made it the 10 minutes, they would be given another marshmallow. There are rewards for waiting the long term. And it turned out the kids who waited ended up having better finances, they had better test scores, they had a better life in many ways. Delaying gratification in your dating life will definitely benefit you, especially when you date for marriage, because you're looking at bigger picture things. You want someone who can take care of you, but at the end of the day, you want someone that you absolutely adore, that you will always take care of them no matter what. In the short term, say something happens that they lose their job and you love this person so much that you will do anything for them as long as you see them smile. It's obviously going to balance itself out, especially if it's a good, healthy relationship. When you date for marriage, you're thinking of long-term values. For example, is this person going to be a good father? Is this person going to reach their goals that they are working towards? Are they ambitious in this way? Do they have a good relationship with their family? Do they have a basis for a good relationship because their parents are still together, or their parents are both happy in different relationships? That really affects a lot of things, especially in the formative years. You will see that in dating. When you date for marriage, you're not necessarily making every first date like, oh, you're the one I'm going to marry, I'm going to have kids with you one day. No, genuinely get to know people. Same, back to rule number 1, time is your friend, getting to know people before you figure out if you love them. Truly date for marriage or long term. And for me, it's marriage because I want to have children one day. Those children are going to have an exceptional father. Marriage in the United States is really good, especially if you have kids. Where my boyfriend comes from, marriage is good just because of God's law. We both are religious and have certain values. Getting married in general is just a good thing all around. For both of us, according to law or not, it also makes sure that you have your ducks in a row. Dating for marriage also makes sure that you have your ducks in a row, because if you want to attract someone who, for example, has six-pack abs, you most likely are going to have a killer body too. You're probably having six-pack abs yourself, because like attracts like. If you're good with money, you're probably going to bump into someone or have more in common with someone who is also good with money and understands investing and taxes, finances in general, and being responsible in that way. Or you'll find someone that you grow with and you both become good at money together. Or one of you guys is really good at something and the other person catches on and they realize, oh, now I'm learning the basics. I'm learning because of you, because you make me snap into my best self. You become your best self when you do want such high standards from someone else. Next is to protect your peace. is set boundaries even if it's hard. Take a step back from people and be inconvenient. Sometimes you need to. I will have a whole video on how to be inconvenient. This applies well when you are dating. This also applies with certain people in your life, say, that have been in your life for a very long time, or in your formative years when you're in your childhood. These people keep popping back into your life, and some of them you want to keep around, some of them you want to keep around but at a distance, and some people you graciously soft ghost. I know some people who want to attach themselves to me by expressing how they knew me 15 years ago. They'll bring up things from 15 years ago, and I don't understand because I live by the hour. I learn things all the time that make my understanding of the world shift with the light. For someone to hold who I was 15 years ago against me is really weird. Sometimes you need to set your boundaries for these situations, and people who think that they know you, which is really weird. I don't understand why they keep bringing it up anyway. And the last in relationships is find people with whom you can grow. I have friends of 10 years or over 10 years that they've stayed the same. They have grown in different ways. For example, their business has grown because time, and they understand things better, and their family grows because time. I am the one to grow the most in my group of friends because my friends are a little bit older. They're like in their 30s, 40s, starting to be 40, I should say. They're not that much older, but they're older enough that I have friends who are my age who are surprised that I have friends who are that much older. The thing is, I have had a lot of life experiences because I didn't go to school. I ended up starting my own business when I was young. But when everyone was still studying and specializing in one field, I was already going out there traveling the world on my own dime and figuring out what I wanted. So I have more in common with these older people who have done the same thing. After they already graduated school, they got to travel the world and do things that start a business and do things they wanted. I'm the baby in the group. I was anyway. When I was in my 20s, obviously, that's when you're figuring things out. I grew a lot and I'm catching up to my friends, and my friends are up there, but me, I'm just starting at their age. They were doing things the way I was doing it. A lot of people tell me, you're going at a really good rate, just keep going. Now it's just a matter of keeping on going. Some people you will outgrow, they will not stay, or you see them every once in a while and that's good enough. And some people will grow with you. And you might grow doing a little bit of different things, but you both see the growth and you recognize it and you appreciate it, and it makes you closer. And some people are already grown, but they're watching you grow and they're like, keep going, keep going. They're just clapping their hands for you. Keep all the friends who stuck around. This is really challenging. The growing part, you grow part, that's okay. In your growth journey, you make new friends who are already there because of that growth. Those are the friends that they might be newer, but they might stay around for much longer. Now for finance and work. First off, get paid to do what you would already do for free. So find a way to do something that you don't necessarily have to love it 100%. You probably absolutely loved it when you started. It's good enough that you would do it for free, and you can do it with your eyes closed. And if you get paid for it too, that's great. If you can negotiate a really good rate because you're so good at it, you can do it with your hands tied behind your back and in your sleep and upside down. You can do it with a blindfold on. Get that job, do that profession. Do it at least for a good few years. I personally would like to do something. I'm doing things that I absolutely love, and I would do it for free, but make it your career. Next is to keep work people at a distance. You might think your coworkers that you see every day are your friends. Sometimes they genuinely do become friends, but then office politics can come into play. There are different degrees of friends. Your coworkers who you nod and say hello to, that you're just polite. You find some really light chit-chat banter that you have when you see them, and that's the extent of your relationship. Then there are the ones that you tell, this weekend I'm doing this, and then that's it. There are ones that you have who become your best friend. You still talk even if you both don't work there anymore. Those are the real friends. But try to keep work people at a distance. If you really want to stay at a place and you want to work there for a while, don't make friends right away. Be convivial, be civil, be friendly and warm, be yourself. But don't necessarily make friends with everyone and trust them with all of your things. Be mysterious at work. You should be professional. Some people will go their entire life being professional and just keeping it a professional relationship, only talking about work for the 15 years that they work someplace. And that is a really good person that you want to have on your team. That's something I've learned the hard way, where I would have like this office manager call my office and they would ask me about my personal life. They were just being nosy, being annoying. And I hated it. I felt like I was constantly being watched. Anything I did, I couldn't breathe. I had no freedom. It was what they used against me in order to kind of hurt me socially, politically, whatever you want to say it. It kind of made me not want to be friends with the people I was friends with in the office who genuinely cared about me. And then it put a wedge between those relationships. I wanted to protect those people too. So I had to distance myself from them. So it didn't look like we were being friendly outside the office. This one girl, I became really good friends with her, but I didn't want her to get in trouble. So I started distancing myself so that she didn't have any affiliation with me or didn't seem like it, because the office politics were too much. Glad to be out of that situation. Next is work-life balance is easy if you are a master of your skills. So be sure to educate yourself that you can get to the point of doing things upside down while you're holding a baby, while you're brushing your cat, while you're cooking dinner, while your hands are tied behind your back. Be that level of masterful at your work skills that your work-life balance is easy. This is something that took me time to master, but I realized that when I'm home, I'm home. I'm gonna relax. My boss calls me, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna answer in a relaxed way. Yes, we have boundaries. I'm not necessarily always going to answer. I'm with my loved ones. There are some people who give 110% while they're cooking dinner and doing this high-powered job, but in the long run, I want to look back and say, I enjoyed spending that time with my loved ones. I don't mind that I didn't get that promotion right away. I still was going to get that promotion, but it took a little more time because I was enjoying myself. I was enjoying my life. I don't have any regrets with turning down my boss to do something, because that boss is not going to be there at my deathbed. It doesn't mean be mean to your boss. It just means to know your boundaries, prioritize your actual life. One day, that boss might need to make a business decision on you, and then they're not in your life anymore. So focus on your life. You will always have your life. Next is don't be the youngest or the first, be the highest paid. I was a professional musician when I was young. Oh, I was a starting musician and then I became a professional musician. And I went to a party. I would perform at places, but I would get kicked out because I was too young. I was underage. I was a professional guitarist. Everyone was much older. And I remember telling my dad as a teenager, there's this one 27-year-old at a party that blah, blah, blah. And my dad said, what is this 27-year-old doing at this teenager's party? And I had to remind my dad, I'm the only teenager there. Everyone else is grown. And he realized, my dad said, don't care about being the youngest, be the highest paid. Who cares if whatever your situation is, wherever you work, you want to be the one who's the best at what you do, that you earn what you make. And that has always stuck with me. You will always be secure in yourself because your skills are where they need to be, where you want them to be, and where you want them to be is a very high standard. So I guess essentially at the end of the day, this is just about having high standards. And the final thing is saving will keep you afloat, but investing will make you rich. Invest where you already shop, grow your money by doing the things you know and learning more about how to make your money grow legally, obviously. Literally look at the tax code in any country. The tax code will tell you how to get rich because the government has certain incentives for people to do. They want you to be married. They want you to have a business. They want you to do well, to donate to charities. Find a financial advisor who knows what they're doing. Someone can recommend to you, or you do your research. Try different things. Not everything's going to be perfect, especially if you're new at money. And money is such a difficult topic because our education system in the United States is at fault for a lot of this, where they don't facilitate the right education because a lot of the people who are teaching this aren't making a lot of money. They don't know the first thing about finances, and they're the ones in tons of debt because of their education. That is a whole Ouroboros of nonsense in itself. But there are books. I even have some books in my Books to Glow Up playlist from years ago, but I am getting back into reading finance books. And as I get older, the more intense the finance books get. And I look at different people online. For example, it depends on what you want to do. There is a really good book. I'll have it linked below. It's called Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. It's about some people will have dreams of owning a jet and living this crazy wild lifestyle with a chef and 16 mansions like Taylor Swift. She has 9 mansions, I think, something like that. A crazy number. Some people want to live that lifestyle, but it's only like 0.0001% that do. And then there are people who just want to make $120,000 a year because they want to wake up late, only go to the office a few times a week, but their goal in life is to coach Little League and watch their sons grow. Some people are fine with that. And then once you start getting lifestyle creep, you see a person with a Lamborghini, or you see a person, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Lambo. You can see someone with a really nice Porsche Panamera, and you think, okay, I'm jealous. I think I need to work a little harder. Re-examine your goals and then say, now I want to make $300,000 a year. That means I have to not have dinner with my family for half a year or a year or so and dedicate myself. But we have to set that goal, set that understanding. Learning to invest in the right places, whether it's in your time, especially when you're time rich like me. I feel like I'm very time rich and very cash poor right now. There is always time, and know that the average multimillionaire is in their 60s, and the average millionaire has about 7 streams of income. Small things here and there add up. I learned this the hard way and the easy way. You can automate things. When I didn't have a job, I was even better at saving. Or when I did have a job and I would spend everything buying a house and then leveraging credit. Should we use credit? Is it good to have this kind of mortgage? Should I have a car loan? Should I get this kind of car? Should I just ride a horse? Should I just use a scooter to school? It's actually more expensive for a horse, depending on what type of horse. There are so many things to think about, and it applies to you personally. Finances are very personal in this sense, and it's difficult to learn, but you have to eventually get your grip on it, because I had to start over, and I am starting over. I am 13 now. I'm literally starting life over. Got divorced, no more house, no more farmland, no more acres of heaven. Now I'm in an apartment in Los Angeles. I'll have a whole moving vlog coming out. Subscribe and click the bell for that. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments below. If this was super confusing, that makes a lot of sense, because I'm still confused. I'm actually not that confused. I know exactly where I'm going, but iterating it in a way that is digestible for people on YouTube might not be. So let me know in the comments below. I'll also have a blog for this, and I hope you enjoyed this, even if it was purely for entertainment reasons. It's good to see your face.
Visitez le site web stylebygia.com et inscrivez-vous pour recevoir gratuitement des idées de tenues vestimentaires chaque semaine et des guides de soins personnels. Suivez-la sur son compte Instagram, la Gia Garcia, pour des nouveautés quotidiennes, et lisez son blog, lagiagarcia.com, pour une exploration profonde. Merci.
Subscribe, click the bell, tell all your friends, watch this several thousand times. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.